Is my database running? Yes, no, maybe.
Yes, it is running.
Yeah, it is running because you see a very big line with -t in between. So your Postgres database is running or your Postgres instance is running. What I'll do, let me check if I have any table. Yes. ps-ef grep Postgres. You use this command to check if your database is running or not. You will see few background processes here. Out of all these background processes, there is a process, this one. You call it as a postmaster process. And the other background processes names are there here. This is logger process, this is checkpointer, this is background writer, and so on. When you see your postmaster process is running, this postmaster process does two things especially. One, connection establishment. Two, take care of other background processes. It also does instance recovery, but with the help of recovery process. So postmaster, when it is up and running, it does three things here. One, connection establishment. Two, it will take care of other background processes. Three, it does instance recovery. How it will take care of connection establishment? For example, this is your middleware. This is your database. You have data 1, 100. Your postmaster is this. Your client, when it wants to connect to your database, or when you want to when it want to get this 1, 100, it will first approach postmaster that it want to fetch the data 1, 100. Probably select star from employee. Before the user actually gets the data, it has to authenticate itself. So the client will come up with username, database name, password, IP address, and host. These five put together is called your connection string. So when the client comes with these details, the authentication process happens here. That means whether this user or this client is a legit client to access the data. Postmaster knows that information with the help of a file, PGHPA. This is like an access file for Postmaster. So you write information here, you give it to Postmaster. So every time there is a connection request made, Postmaster will look into this file to confirm if this user can access the data or not. You simply write something like this. We'll understand more about HBA later, but yeah, for example, this is client A, this is client B. And in HBA file, I have written something like this. A, hello, B, reject. I've written something like this. So when client A is coming, postmaster will allow him. When client B is coming, postmaster will reject, because that is there written in HBA file. When the authentication process is completed, authentication process is nothing but ensuring that the user has access to the data or not. That's it. Postmaster will create another process called user backend process. Second step. And now this client can talk to your user backend process, get the data, select star from employee. So this guy will get into the database, fetch the data, give it to the client. It is as simple as this. For example, my middleware, my database, my postmaster, my client. This is step 1. This guy has HPA. If the authentication is successful, this guy will create user backend process, hand over the user backend process to client. Any question here? Right.
So this communication will happen through the system user, right?
Which user? No, there is yeah, system user, not
System.
database user. No, these are all process related. No user coming into picture here.
No, you are
At operating
it's a
system
web
level,
logic.
yeah, at operating system level, your Postgres user.
So your web logic layer and database will communicate over the system user, right?
Correct.
That I'm asking.
I'll come here. I'll go to my configuration file, present working directory. In my database directory, open this. Sorry, VI. There is something called log_connections. I'm enabling this. Then log disconnection. Then log duration. Where is connection, disconnection, and duration? These are the 3 parameters that I enabled in my configuration file. When I enable something or when I change something in the configuration file, I either need to reload my cluster or reboot my server. I will understand more about this later. Also, in my data directory, I have a folder called log. This is where my alert logs reside. Open my alert log. Right. Root RSC123. I'll try to establish a connection. PSQL, username, database name, port, host, password I'll enter. Connection received. I'll enter the password, Postgres, connection authorized. That means a connection has been successfully established. I'll try to execute some query, select star from employee. Then I'll disconnect. Disconnected. Again, I'll try to do that. Connection request. authorized, disconnected. Why I'm getting this information in the log? Because I have enabled these three parameters. So when you enable log connections and log disconnection, log duration, information about or logging information about your on your instance gets captured in your alert log.
Where is the alert log location? Once again, please.
Same in this location, inside your data directory, there is a folder called log.
Hmm.
I think Kumar, we can change the location of this directory also with the help of log underscore directory parameter.
We can do that. Yeah. We'll understand that later. It's a default location.
Kumar,
Yes, Hanuman.
hello. Yeah, I can see the log, the port number is different.
Which port?
NS system. Yes.
That's a different thing. You just see what is there here. How I logged in.
Connection received is 34604.
That's a different thing.
And these are the dynamic ports while connection established between the clients.
I'll connect from a different machine now. ifconfig 222. Machine. I want to connect to this machine 226. You have to give this -h. It is asking me the password. I entered. I'll come here. U01 PG SQL 16 log, and my log says, yeah, connected. Connection received from this host. Password authentication happened using HPA file. If I enter some wrong password, I'll come here. Request received. Authentication failed. Right. So the thing is, I'm getting the information in my alert log because I enabled these parameters. Now I'll come here. ps-ef grep postgres. I have few background processes. Let me do this. Right. What I'll do, I'll try to connect again. Connection established. And you can see there is a connection here. This one. A new line got created, and this line you call it as user backend process. As I said, when a request is made, Postmaster will create a new process called user backend process, and that guy is responsible to fetch information for the client, to get into the database and do stuff. I'll come here. Select. From employee. I want to get the data of employee table, but after 60 seconds. Let me put 30 here. Enter. You'll see select here. That means this guy is actually fetching the data for you. I'll open a new session. Thirty seconds not completed. A new connection is made. Where is the new one? Yeah. This is the new one. I'll open another session. So you have C3 here. Depending on the number of connections you make, for each and every connection, a new user backend process gets created. And currently, all the 3 sessions are idle now. I'll try to do something. That session is fetching something. I'll try to do something else. Truncate employee. This will not work. This is waiting, because when you select something, your drop, truncate, all these things will not work. So currently it is waiting. You can see that information in PG_logs. That's a different story. But yeah, the number of connections you make, the number of user backend process that gets created. Total, how many connections you can make? The maximum allowed connections. What is this? Connections.
I think brackets.
100. So total 100. I mean, this is the default value that is set in my configuration file. You can change this later.
So command only currently it is 100. How maximum value is allowed for the connections over here?
It's up to you. You can put whatever the number you want, depending
is-
on.
Okay, so there is no limitations for the incoming connections, right? I can set any n number of connections in this
Correct.
parameter.
As long as your operating system supports, you can have as many connections as you want.
So this is the tricky question, that how will I check that how many connection is allowed by my operating system?
Again, I'm telling, you can have unlimited connections. You might need to change your operating system values if you are putting the max connections as extremely high. For example, 100,000 or more. That too, you need to change your kernel parameters if you are putting extreme high values. But again, after changing your kernel parameters, you can continue putting whatever the number you want. For example, with the default kernel values on my 4 GB RAM machine, let me try modifying some value. I'll go to U01 PGSQL 16. Max connections. I'll put, let's say, 10,000. Restart. It worked. Current value is 10,000. Let me put 100,000. For some value it will fail. $10,000 itself is a very big number. I think it is not allowed. Started. Yeah, it allowed. Yeah. And as I said, yeah, it will fail for some larger value. In that case, you need to modify your kernel parameters. This will help you with what are the values you can put and all that. You can see that here. Maximum number of semaphore. This is the formula. The default semaphore value for any operating system, especially for Postgres, will have enough values. You don't need to modify it. But yeah, if you want to put something like this, the bigger value, 1 lakh itself is a very big number. You hardly put 5,000, 2,000. That's it. Right? If your system gives you error message, you might need to change your operating system values.
Kumar, can you explain that formula, how it is work actually? If my system memory is 16 GB, what should I set for the max connection?
It doesn't matter. For example, any idle session will take 1.9 MB of your memory. For example, if I'm not doing anything, I'm just connecting I'm just making a connection. 4 GB can hold, I don't know, you have to calculate it. 1.9 MB per connection. 4096 MB can make how many connections? Probably 2000 connections. You can make 2000 connections. Setting
Because
up
connection limit will share by the application guy, right? Suppose my application guy is requesting me to be the 1 lakh connection will come on the database. According that, we need to be plan the system configuration and all. So I want to be calculate the system configuration according that application guy request. Right. What should I be procure the system, like how much time, how much memory, CPU, and kind of it. According that, I want to be know that what is the calculation of that.
So I told you, right? If you are expecting only a connection, this is the formula. If you are doing some active transaction on that connection, depending on the transaction that you are doing, or depending on the request that you make with the transaction, the value changes. For example, if you do some complex OLAP query, it might eat up lots of memory. But if you just wanted to make a connection for OLTP request, like update a single record, update 10 records, something like that, it hardly takes 2 to 3 MB of your memory. Or if you take 5 MB of memory, let us assume you take 5 MB of memory per connection. One connection 5 MB, something like that. 10 connections, 100 connections, 1000 connections, 1000 connections, 5 GB, 10,000 connections,
5 MB for active connection, right?
5 MB for simple connection, idle connection. Sorry, active connection, OLTP active.
Okay. Suppose we have a concurrent 1 lakh connection. According that, we need to be calculate
500 GB of
that much amount of the memory would required on the server.
Correct. 1 lakh into 5 lakh MB of your memory is required.
Or is there any similarly core calculation? This is the memory calculation.
I didn't get you.
This calculation is resides for the memory, right?
Correct.
And I want to be calculate the core, CPU core. How much CPU core would be required? Is there any calculation there?
Same story. Point is, you just do a benchmark in that case. Instead of you calculating your own values, you simply do a benchmark test and see if your system is withstanding the connections. We'll understand more about benchmarking later, but simply I'll do a benchmark for you quickly. My current CPU count is 2. My current memory is 4 GB. Where is my memory? Yeah, 4 GB memory. If I'm getting 100 connections, each connection is doing some 100 transactions. All the memory got used, but at the same time, yeah, something is free. My CPU usage has gone to 23%. Let me put overall CPU usage. Yeah, overall CPU usage 28%. For 100 connections, it reached 24. Yeah, hardly it reached 24%. Again, all these connections are doing simple OLTP workload. Put 1000 here. You have to see the values like this. Run OLTP workload, OLAP workload, etc. Continuous monitoring is required in this case, instead of coming up with some random values. Right. Where are we? I'll come here again. PS grep Postgres.
So default connection is 100.
Default is 100. Yes. Right. So I'll do ps-ef. Not ps. Let me put top. Right. These are all my connections. What I'll do, I will give 5 connections. Right. So these are those 5 connections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Each connection is doing some task. So depending on the number of connections you make, new processes comes into picture. Conclusion point, each connection will create a new process called user backend process. Hundred connections, 100 processes in your system. Any question?
So PG Bench is an extension or it's part of all the installs?
It's part of the installs.
Nice. Nice. Okay, I have one more question. I saw a command you wrote which said grep something C underscore something. What does that do? It was a couple minutes back.
No, there is nothing like C underscore something. Grep, I
It
just
was
filter, I
something
just
grep and
filtered
then
post.
some log underscore C or something.
That's a filter keyword.
Oh, it's a filter keyword. Okay.
Log underscore, all the words that has this log underscore, you give me the values.
Oh, okay. So it's a filter. Okay, got it. So anything which starts with log, filter for that.
Correct. Next thing, I'll make a connection, PSQL, so currently I have two processes, both are idle. I'll try to execute something. I'll come here and check. There is one select and one is idle. The idle is this connection. I'll open another connection. Currently, I have three connections. One is doing select. The other two are idle. Any question here?
No, Kumar.
Right.
But will you explain that the other background processes like logger, checkpointer, background?
We'll do that after 2 days probably.
Okay.
Today we are doing the first background process, that is postmaster. All the other will take 1 day, and this exclusively take 2 days. So we have to spend 3 more days on background processes only.
Okay.
Now I have connected 3 sessions. One is doing some select, the other 2 are idle. And I tried to understand what each of these transactions are, what each of these sessions are doing with the help of operating system. PS command. Instead, I have dictionary view pgstat activity that tells me what each connection is doing. Process ID, state, query from pgstat activity. So there is one active that is doing some select query. This is idle and this is my current session 7581. This 7581 is my current session that I ran this pgstat activity. 7511 which is idle, and there is something called 7508 which is doing select. If I want to cancel that select query, what I can do is
Why the 7508 doesn't show in that query?
which one?
The one that doing the select.
I
It doesn't
did-
show. It doesn't show the query that you.
1 second, I did get you.
I'm sorry.
I didn't get you.
Okay. You said the query that doing select and the at the OS level. So when you run the query, 075, okay, it was there. I didn't see. Okay. Okay, I got it.
So this is the session that is doing that select. And what I'll do, if I want to kill that, select pg, cancel, backend, the process ID of that session. Enter. The session has been cancelled.
One question, Kumar, please.
Hmm.
Will this cancel only a select transaction or all the transaction which is being initiated by that particular user?
That particular session, whatever the statement that it is doing, it will kill.
It means all the, it may be possible, there may be possibility that there are multiple transaction issued by this user. All the transaction,
No.
whatever he has issued, it will kill.
No. This particular session gets killed. If you are doing update in this session, that gets killed. Delete, that gets killed. Something like that. It will not kill all the other sessions, only that particular session.
Agreed. All this is matlab this particular session. In this particular session, maybe I have fired some another query also in the earlier. So it will
Obviously.
kill all.
Correct. Yes.
Sorry. So
If
it will
is
kill.
not, if it is not committed, yes.
Okay. And what would do that I only want to kill only this select statement, not others. Suppose in session I have issued 5 transactions. I want to kill only this particular select and remaining 4 should be there.
Oh, you cannot do that, right? First thing first.
Okay.
It will come to your select only after executing the first 4.
Okay.
It will execute one by one, right? Right. I'll show you.
Kumar, I have a question. So apart from the active connections, so the idle connections also contribute to the resource utilization of that particular database system,
Yes,
and they will probably.
yes. That's what I told you, right? 2 MB of your memory.
Yeah.
And no CPU.
Okay.
CPU will not be
Oh,
used.
okay, not CPU, only memory.
Hmm.
And we can also set out particular like timeout values for those idle connections.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Right. See here, I have, I'll come here. Okay, let it be. PS-EF, grep Postgres. Currently, I have 1, 2. Let me put idle. Yeah, I have 2 idle sessions and probably 1 select. Let me do 1 select star comma pg underscore sleep of something from employee. I'm doing some select. One select and 1 idle. Now I want to kill this idle session. At operating system level, you can do something like this. Especially if you are coming from Oracle background. In Oracle, people use this kill command to kill idle session. Idle session, process ID is this 7581. I'll try to kill it. When I do that, I got a message for my select. Terminating connection because of crash of another process. And the same information will be recorded in my alert log. Terminated by signal 9. Database system is in recovery mode. Database system is restarted. Which means if you kill session with kill-9 command, it will restart your database. Killing an idle session with kill-9 will lead to system restart, which means killing of all the other connections. It's like a downtime. Never use this kill-9 command in your and while canceling or killing your transactions. Next thing, I'll come here. This is my alert log. PS-EF, grep Postgres. I'll try to connect Postgres. It is idle now. I'll mark the beginning of some transaction, enter. It is now idle in transaction. That means this session is now in the transaction mode. I'm about to do some transaction, update, select, insert, whatever it is. I'll update something, update employee set salary equals to 200. I have updated, but I haven't committed it. Not yet decided whether I wanted to commit or roll back. Currently, since it is not doing anything, the session is in idle in transaction mode. Any question here?
Which database is this?
What do you mean by that? Postgres.
No, this employee salary. Oh, this is just a table you're just playing with?
Yeah, the table name is employee, which is residing in Postgres database.
Okay.
The database name itself is Postgres.
Okay, got it. I thought
How
you
many,
had a separate database. Okay.
how many database you can have in one host, on one server?
Unlimited.
But you always,
How
why
many?
didn't why
You, I
didn't
think
it-
I gave the number yesterday. How many databases you can have in one server? Number of databases, these many. I don't know this number.
yeah.
Right? These many databases you can have in one server.
But how do you check the name of the database when you log into?
Uh, right. Blind rule, this is the name of your database. I'll commit. To list your databases, this is the command. /L. We'll understand this later again. But yeah, /L will give you the databases list. Currently, I have 3 databases. 1, 2, 3. I'll try to connect to another database. Currently, I'm in Postgres database. Now I switch it to template1 database. I'll switch back to Postgres. POST. Yeah, Postgres.
Oh,
/C.
backslash actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Last thing is I'll go to U01 PGSQL 16 VI PostgreSQL .conf. There is something called idle in transaction session timeout, idle session timeout. These two will automatically kill your idle transaction sessions or idle sessions. I'll come here. I'll open this. Open. Right. What I'll do, idle in transaction session timeout, I'll set to some 5 seconds. So after 5 seconds of idle in transaction mode, you kill that session. Save. I don't need anything. Let me check directly. I'll log in. I'll be in transaction mode. Let's wait for 5 seconds. Yeah, terminating connection due to idle in transaction timeout. This session is terminated now. I'll commit. The session is already gone. In the same way, you have your let me set it back to some other number. Idle session timeout. If any session is idle for more than 5 seconds, you cancel it. Yeah, terminating due to idle session timeout. So you have two parameters that defines your idle session timeout values. One last thing, I'll come here. Exit, login. PS-EF, grep Postgres. Seven 586. Select PG, cancel, backend, 7586. This is how you cancel a particular session. Give me a second. These values are conflicting. I'm running some query. Grep Postgres, that is select, whose process ID is 7918. I can also get that information from PID, query from PG stat activity 7918. Select PG, cancel, backend 7918. Enter. What it said? Canceling the statement due to user request. And the message you got is this one. What I'll do, I'll run the query again. It is running again. This time, I'll do this. Terminate backend. I got a different message. A different message here. I'll try to run it again. Oh, connection reset. Okay, done. You can see here. When there is a session running, you can cancel it in two ways. Either using this or using, where is terminate backend? This. If you cancel a session using cancel backend, only the command gets cancelled. If you cancel the session with terminate backend, that connection gets closed. Here only transaction or a statement, here the entire connection.
The connection or this session?
Both are same, right? Connection or the session. Just to recap, I'll write it again. I want to view connection information. These are the three things you need to do. Each connection creates a new background process. You can get that information with operating system command ps-ef grep postgres. If you want to kill a transaction, one, never use kill -9. Important. You can kill it with pg cancel backend or
Oh,
pg
yeah.
terminate backend. pg cancel backend will only cancel that statement. Your session remains active. There is no authentication process made again. But if you use terminate backend, terminates the connection as well. If you want to kill a transaction, try cancel backend first. If it is not working, go with the terminate backend. You can go with the terminate backend directly, it is up to you. But this is
Yeah.
important. Never use kill -9.
If you go to terminate backend, you have to go back and log in again.
Simple. If you use terminate backend, you have to re-establish a session. Simple.
Okay.
Nothing will happen. It's up to you. Right? Cancel backend will only cancel that particular statement. Your session remains active. You continue with the next statements. Here you might need to re-log in. And this command helps you get user backend process information. You can also use top. I'll go to top. Let me show you some top information. I'll come here. Top, enter, you get something like this. In this, what I need to do, I'll give keyboard C, will give me more information. Let me first do keyboard U. Which user you want to get the information? I want to get the information of Postgres user. So this is my Postgres user information. Is my Postgres not running? Yeah, it is running.
Was that Control C or Control U?
No, simple C. You first need
Okay.
to go to top, enter, then keyboard U, give the username. I'll give Postgres user. I got all these details, but nothing clear. So I want expanded information. Then C.
So what do you say? What did you type after you type top?
C is for expanded information.
Oh, C.
I got extended information. And now I want sorted by either CPU or memory. If it is something like this, Shift M or Shift C. Now it is sorted with memory. So which process is using lots of memory? So I'll do, let us say /tt plus, I have a very big table, PG bench accounts. Select star from PG bench underscore accounts. So there is a select that's using some 3% of my memory, some 60% of my CPU. It came top because I filtered with memory. I got the data. Do it again. This one. Exit. So this is just simple one. You either use stop command with you filter by Postgres user, and then extended information, and then sort by memory. Right, you run multiple commands. For example, I'll show you two commands. This is one session. This is another session. One is, okay, PSQL-H. Right. So this is how you see the information. Right, nothing is there.
What is that on the other screen? PTS /75. What's that?
PTS, any value that is starting with PTS, you ignore that number. You can ignore that. Every time you make a
Oh.
connection, it creates that PTS connection limit.
Okay.
Ignore this number. If it is having this PTS values, you can ignore.
And what about the question mark?
Question mark is the one that actually you need to look into.
Okay.
Anything else here?
So one
You-
question. So along the same lines, I think you were showing us that in the config file, if we were to change and switch the idle transaction timeout settings, so that will kick in for anything. So I mean, I don't have to go and manually kill idle transactions, right?
It depends, right? For example, you want to kill a session manually by looking into the session details. You use these two functions. If you want whatever the session that satisfies these two parameter values, where are those parameters? those two parameter values, you can kill it. Yeah, here, if you want to kill a transaction or a session, you can use these two. Any automation is there, you have two parameters.
Right, right. No,
Yeah.
but these would kill anything, right? Anything which is active or
Correct,
inactive.
correct.
But that's just for idle one. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Cancel backend, you can kill either active or idle, but here it's only idle. Idle session timeout.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it from my side. No
Thank you.
questions, I'll wind up.
Take care. Bye.
Any others, any questions?
Thank you, Umar.
No, I don't have any questions. So you're gonna upload this.
Yes, share your, have you shared your email?
Yes, I sent my email on the
Okay,
WhatsApp group.
I'll update this.
I sent it yesterday.
I'll do that. Today I'll do that. I'll go to board, not board drive. Let me check if there is any information associated with this. Yeah, so this is the information associated with whatever that we discussed now. Your connection string and the process. Right? And when it comes to lab, yeah. Today's session, this one, and you see this red color one, and then the other details. Identify the process ID, use cancel, you'll get this message. To terminate, you use terminate, you will get this message in your alert log. And any parameters that control the activity, you have two parameters. Logging, we'll understand that in the logging section when we discuss logger process. We'll see installation tomorrow.
Installation doc is uploaded on the drive.
I didn't get you. No, tomorrow we'll see the installation.
Yeah,
And,
tomorrow, but the installation document actually is available on that
No,
drive.
your
We will
entire,
go through the prior.
yeah, your entire lab activity is there in a single file, this
Okay,
document.
already there.
Yeah. So whatever we discussed today, this is our first session, technical session, and this is what it is related to our discussion today. And your installation, yeah, will follow this installation.
Okay, thank you.